it is, the Don Castaneda expert life coach, recovery coach, intervention professional. I'm going to talk about US Treasury bonds and S&P index funds. So I threw this into AI. Ask AI about this stuff as well. This is what I've been doing. I saw this in a article, and it basically you could turn $100 a month into over $600,000 or maybe even $1 million over the span of 35 to 40 years, right? So if you're 20 years old, 40 years later, you'll be about 60 years old, right? You still can't retire until you're 65. They're raising the retirement age, I believe. So, if you start investing soon, right, you have a good retirement nest egg. And S&P stands for Standard and Poor's. So Standard and Poor's, a financial services company that created the S&P 500 index, tracks the performance of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the U.S. And in 40 years, it's $664,000, right? So with the U.S. Treasuries, they're at 3%. So in 40 years, you get $97,000, but it's more safe, it's more secure. Okay, it's backed by the U.S. government. Um, so S&P is the way to go and there's not a whole lot of risk. I know the market could crash and all that, but it takes the 500 largest companies and it invests in those companies. So if one fails or it's not doing so well, they'll invest in another company. And the way to do it is just fidelity.com. Go to fidelity.com, set up an account. Um, Investment. $100 a month in S&P versus US Treasuries in 40 years. If you just invest $100 a month for 40 years, total you'll invest is $48,000 total contribution, right? So you're turning $48,000 into $664,000 in 40 years. But if you invest in US Treasuries, that same amount, 48,000, is only 97,000. So it's a little, almost double, I think, but it's not nearly as much as S&P, because S&P is about approximately 10% value. U.S. Treasuries is only 3% interest return rate, annual interest return rate. So, S&P compounds dramatically, turning 48K of contributions into 664K. So that's the difference. There's risk trade-off rewards, and if you just want a retirement nest egg, that's one way to get a pretty good amount, just $100 a month.